morning and welcome to the merriest place on earth. We're happy to have you as our guest today.
And just like that, another year on Hey Brickey begins. Esmeralda, what do you think? You think this is the year that it works for us? I sure hope so. Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Brickey here. Welcome to the first update of the year, where we're going to break down a lot of talking points, a lot of things that are happening inside of Disneyland, and I cannot wait to get started. Had an amazing holiday break. I hope you did too, but we're back, baby. It's time to get back to work, and it's time to keep bringing you the story of Disneyland. In some good news for a lot of folks, January 10th, that's next week, Magic Key sales will resume. They'll resume at the prices that they were back in October, $4.99 on the low end, $16.50 on the high end. So if you were looking to get a Magic Key, good news for you, next week they go back on sale. And if you're one of the people and people that are very close to me that I love dearly, where you missed out on the wild, like if you don't renew it right away, you lose it policy that Disney has right now, because they seem to love to do things that almost says we hate our customers. You can get a Magic Key, and reminder, once you get one, don't let it go, because you can get locked out of the park if you don't renew it ahead of time. So make sure you're getting the emails, make sure you put your renewal date in your calendar, because if you miss it, you will miss out. And dear friends of mine like Carl and Hammer, they weren't able to get into the park this holiday season for the first time ever for my friend Hammer, who's literally been an annual pass holder since he was like 8 years old. Didn't get to come to Christmas this year because he missed his renewal, and a day after the renewal expired, they would not let him back in the system. So you have to put a lot of homework into being a theme park fan these days, because it's 2024 and our world is insanely complicated, even though our computer overlords and algorithms are here to make it easier. Let's talk Pirates of the Caribbean getting a lightning lane. Why they're doing this, why I think it's a bad thing, and why it will probably work. With the Haunted Mansion being gone for what we're assuming to be most of the year, and for Splash Mountain Tiana's Bayou Adventure 100% being gone for 99% of the year, maybe also the entire year with the way projects have moved historically, they need to add more value to Lightning Lane. Pirates is the last stop from here to Critter Country, like a huge gap of nothingness. So they need to add value to their Genie Plus so that when people walk past Indiana Jones, they still see value. Because don't forget, if you were to keep going on this path, the next actual regular Lightning Lane would be Millennium Falcon. Because Winnie the Pooh is just choose your own adventure. Everything else is closed, and Rise of the Resistance is an upcharge, which I hear people all the time walking through the park complaining, you mean I gotta pay for that too? Yes, Grandpa, you do. So Disney has to add this into the Genie Plus so they can show value to their customers. And it's been wildly successful monetarily for the corporation. I don't think it's been successful for the guests. Most people don't seem to like it, and I constantly hear people complaining about it. Because don't forget, I'm walking through the park by myself 9 times out of 10, and I'm able to listen to all the conversations around me, and the amount of people that I hear confused, frustrated, and irritated by Genie Plus is very, very high. I rarely ever walk past somebody that goes, this is awesome. But more of the time I walk past somebody being like, I don't know how to add the family, Karen. I don't know how to do it. What do you want me to do? I don't know how to work this thing. I hear that a lot. So there definitely needs to be, for Disney's part, a value to Genie Plus once you get past Indiana Jones and make your way over to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Why I don't think that they need to do this though is Pirates is equipped to handle the most intense of crowds. It has 2 different switchbacks to bring people in. It has the room around it in the Rivers of America where they can run guests nearly all the way up to the Haunted Mansion. And this ride is going to have a huge demand with Mansion and Splash being down. So there's plenty of room to line up plenty of people for a ride that has a massive hourly consumption of guests. This thing is a people eater, and even on the busiest of days, it does its job well. So I don't like it, I don't agree with it, and I don't think that it needs it. But it will work, because when people come here this summer and they want to try to get as much value as they can for their families, and it's only $20 to $30 extra to skip the line, times 4, mom, dad's gonna go, you know what, $120, if it makes the day go faster and we have a good time, the hell with it. We've already bought the hotel, already bought the flights, already bought the tickets, we're already gonna buy the food. Let's just get it done and maybe not come back for a while. But this is the 2023 mindset of the Disney Corporation. They honestly don't have a good grip on what fans want or need, but more a grip on trying to get this company out of financial dire straits. I am working on a video that I will have for you later this month, where I'm gonna break down 5 ways over the last 5 years that Disney parks have begun to decline. And it is not as much fun in 2024 as it was in 2019. We didn't know those were the good days when we were living them. And it's crazy to think, friends, that right where I'm standing, this is the cutoff point. This is the last spot where there will be an attraction that you can ride, but the next lightning lane available ride is Millennium Falcon Smuggler Run. You do have Winnie the Pooh, that is a family ride that you can tuck in there and do. And you also have Rise of the Resistance, which is, you know, for most people, that's an add-on that you pay for, not an easy line to jump in. There is gonna be a massive stretch through here for a greater part of this year where there's not gonna be a lot to do. So, Pirates being managed the way that it is, it makes sense from a business perspective, but I just don't think that it's polite from a fan value perspective. Honest opinion. Yeah, it's here. It's here till you get to the edge of another attraction. Quite a stretch. All right, friends, one of my very favorite parts of the update series is to create before footage so that we have something to contrast when we get to the after footage. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna explore the areas of the 2 big construction projects that will be happening to the Haunted Mansion, because some of these shots we will never be able to get again of the Haunted Mansion or of Magnolia Park. Some of these shots that you see from the western side of the Haunted Mansion shooting back east at it, these shots will forever disappear once there's a new shop right where I'm standing. Friends, I'm currently standing inside of Madame Leota's exit through the gift shop. Currently standing there because it doesn't exist, but it will. And what effect will this have on the reopening of the Haunted Mansion? Cannot wait to see how this carriage house transformation on what has just been a bunch of pop-up carts that have happened over the last couple of years, how will this not only play into the Haunted Mansion, but the transformation next door at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. A very interesting and exciting piece of land that has been a forgotten part of Disneyland for quite some time, but one that many of us will be keeping an eye on. So I'd love to come in here on the monthly update, capture some of these images that we'll never be able to see again. We'll have a new experience of a new store and a new shop, but this view is something that is going to go away into Yesterland. And the other part of this transformation that I'm least excited about is how the queue is going to be expanded over into Magnolia Park. I understand why this is something that they're doing, but as a Disneyland purist that has always enjoyed this park and having this little quiet space inside of New Orleans Square that makes the land feel incredibly more real, like a little city, not super excited that where I'm standing now is going to be a food court and what's behind me is going to be a line. I would take a park over that combo. But that's the way that it is. Soon this will be chopped up, turned into an extended queue for the Haunted Mansion. And although this space will have storytelling and elements of the Haunted Mansion in it, it'll no longer be a park that extends the story of New Orleans Square. And my big question is this: are these trees gonna stay? Because you don't see the trees in the concept art, and that makes sense, because if the trees were in the concept art, you would not be able to see the new queue. However, I do believe that the trees will stay and they are massaging this footprint because these trees are a historic part of Disneyland and shade is going to be essential for this extended queue. Anybody who's ever been stuck out on the patio on the eastern side of the Haunted Mansion knows how hot this part of the park can get in the summer months when you're in that long line that seems to not be moving. So friends, these are our before shots. Over the course of the year, you can join me every Saturday for your update of Disneyland to see everything new that's happened and follow this progress along from the before shots to whatever the after ends up looking like. Thank you so much for going on this journey for me, and thank you so much for considering subscribing to Hey Brickey. Friends, do you see what I see? The top of Tiana's Bayou adventure is being sculpted. If we zoom in, we can see that there is clay on the top of former Splash Mountain. It's now going to be sort of a rolling hill, but we can see they have begun the other side of this project. First, it's demo, rip it down, get it to the structure that you need. But then the second part is to resculpt it, remold it into the image that you want it to be. And we are at that exciting moment right now. Also, as I look around the attraction, I can see that they are laying chicken wire, conduit, like metal piping all around different areas that they cut out to create that base form for the next wave of sculpting. What we're gonna see over the next month or so is them sculpting the mountain, getting it to be the shape that they want, and then we will see them transform the mountain into a greenery, where we will see what they've been doing out at Walt Disney World and planting lots of different plants, artificial plants, sculpted plants, all around it, transforming it into the bayou away from that Georgia red clay. This is an exciting chapter in this project where it's no longer about ripping it apart, it's about building it back and hopefully building it better. I could watch these guys resculpt this mountain all day long. This is my kind of attraction. It's fascinating how they make the Disney rocks, absolutely fascinating. I made a video about how they're made, but nobody cared. What's interesting about this process versus Galaxy's Edge, with Galaxy's Edge, they were able to make a sculpt of the mountains that they wanted to make, print those out, print them out with the bending of the pipe, and then sculpt the mesh around that. But with this particular project, you're already starting on something that's halfway there. I feel like there's got to be a tremendous amount of problem solving, live problem solving that's happening because it's just not a clean build. It's not a clean slate. It's forcing something into existing constraints. Design within constraint is one of my favorite kinds of designs. That's when real creative problem solving starts. So it would be so fascinating to know how they're solving a lot of these problems of you have spot A to C, how do you create B to make a bridge between those two existing points to create the new story that you want this mountain to tell. I'm getting deep, I know, but I love this stuff. Goodbye, Christmas tree and Disneyland Christmas. I'll forever love you and you remain undefeated. And I'll never, ever forget 2020 when you weren't here. See you next year. And I sincerely hope you don't need Christmas or Disneyland to remind you that it's truly a wonderful life and we just don't get enough time to live it. That's why it's important to make every minute, every day count. And I hope, friend, that you're spending 2024 doing something that fulfills you, that makes you happy. I can get hung up on the results. I'm a very results-driven person, but we have to remind ourselves that it's about living the day. And the results, they are what they are. They'll stack up at the end, but it's about living the day. And I am so excited you decided to spend this one with me. Thank you. All right, I'm ready for Christmas to be over. It makes me way too emotional.